you're new to WordPress, you'll have come across the term plugins. Plugins are extremely essential to how your WordPress website works and functions, and at the very least, you're going to be wanting to use a few essential plugins. It's very rare to find a WordPress website that uses 0 plugins. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over what plugins are, a few tips on how to choose the right plugin for your website, and even how to install a plugin. This is Elliot with WordPress, and let's get straight into it. So let's start off by going over what plugins actually are. And plugins basically add more dynamic functionality to your WordPress website that the core WordPress code doesn't offer. WordPress out of the box offers you a simple way to create content, but if you want more in-depth functions like contact forms and complex design tools, this is where plugins come into play. For example, if you wanted people to fill out a form on your website to contact you, you could use a plugin like Ninja Forms. WordPress doesn't have a built-in contact form, and this is where you use plugins to add that extra functionality. There are plugins to help you speed up your site, track your visitors, design your website, and hundreds of other different functions. In the WordPress community, you will find free plugins and premium paid plugins, and if you have a look in the WordPress plugin repository, you will find thousands of free plugins that offer paid versions for extra features. However, if you're just starting off with WordPress, then the free plugins will do just fine. And whilst we're on the topic of saving money, if you are looking for super fast, affordable hosting with 24/7 support, I will leave some links in the description to our super fast hosting plans, so you can go and check them out for your next WordPress project. Now let's move on to some tips for choosing the best plugins for your WordPress website. You're firstly going to want to start off by making a clear list of the plugins that you might need for your WordPress website. So for example, if you wanted to create an educational website, you might want to create a learner management system using a plugin like Lifter LMS. If you wanted to create an e-commerce website, you might want to use a plugin like WooCommerce that will allow you to add a cart and checkout functionality to your site. So make a list, do some research, and you can always ask in the WordPress support forums and Facebook groups for plugin recommendations. Tip number 2 is to choose plugins that are popular, compatible with the latest version of WordPress, and well reviewed. So go and check on websites like YouTube for reviews and for walkthroughs of different plugins, because this shows that they're more reliable and will help you with the setup process. And you're also going to want to choose plugins where the developers have updated the code recently. So if a plugin hasn't had its code updated for over 2 years, we call this an abandoned plugin, and you're generally going to want to avoid these types of plugins because they might not be compatible with your theme, with the version of WordPress that you're using, and with other plugins on your site, and they can invite things like malware and hackers. So you can always go over to WordPress.org, search for the plugin that you are thinking about using for your site, and on the right hand side it will show you how recently it has been updated by the developers. My third tip is to avoid installing loads of plugins and unnecessary plugins for your site, because when your site loads, all of the plugins need to be loaded as well. And if you have loads of plugins on your site, this is going to slow down the load times for your site, which is bad for business. So only use the plugins that are really essential for your website. My final tip is to test a plugin out on a staging version of your website to see if it has the right functionality before you install it on your real website. On our hosting plans, you can easily create a staging site of your website using a subdomain, and then you can go and test out plugins on the staging version of that website and see if it has the desired functionality. So now that I've given you a few tips on how to choose a plugin, let me show you how to install a plugin on your WordPress website. It's super easy. So there are 2 different methods you can use to install a WordPress plugin on your website. The first thing you can do is from your WordPress dashboard, go down to plugins and click on add new. From here, you can go to search plugins and you can search for the plugin that you want to install. And then all you need to do is just hit install now and then hit activate. Now, alternatively, you can download a plugin from WordPress.org. So you can just do a Google search of your plugin and then you can find it on WordPress.org. Then all you need to do is hit download, and then you can come over to plugins and click on add new again, and then you can go to upload plugin choose a file, and then all you need to do is just upload that zip file for the plugin and then click on install now. Now you would only do this in the case that you couldn't find it when you searched for it originally from your WordPress dashboard. So like I mentioned, once a WordPress plugin has finished installing, you can just hit activate plugin. And then you should see this green message saying plugin activated. Now one last thing that I do want to mention when it comes to plugins is that you're going to want to keep them up to date, and once again this just helps to keep your website more secure. So what you can do is you can click on plugins, you can click on installed plugins, then you can go and choose all of the plugins on your site by hitting this tick button. Then you can go to bulk actions and you can hit update and then click on apply. After a few minutes you should then see the plugins have been updated. So that is everything you need to know about WordPress plugins in 2022. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you have found some value. I will leave a link in the description to our super fast, affordable hosting plans with 24/7 support, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more WordPress related content. This has been Elliot with Verpex, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.